Hey guys, and welcome back to another video from the Cricket Badgers. Today, us, Will Burford and AA Cricket discuss the upcoming West Indies versus England series and make some predictions about it as well.
This is a big series for them, of course, just to bounce back, I guess, because back in the earlier days, I'm sure everyone knows like the wrath of the West Indies bowling attack from like the 1970s. So I think that they need to bounce back and live up to how they used to play.
And also, I think this is an important series for England.
Because they toured the Caribbean and they lost 2-1 to the West Indies. So you can't underestimate them, and I think England probably have a point to prove.
This is a big series for the West Indies as well because they're currently in 8th in the World Test Championship. They have played 2 games and lost both of them, so they want to bounce back and get a few wins.
I think they have the firepower, but they're just not living up to their potential, really.
Definitely.
So who do you think is going to be the highest run scorer for the West Indies and why?
It's between Craig Brathwaite and Shai Hope.
Yeah.
As last time when they toured England in the Test series, they did prove a point during the Headingley Test, if I'm not mistaken, and they scored like a double 100 partnership. And I think I'm sure they're going to try to do the same thing in this series.
I hope. I think that he is one of the underrated cricket players. And I think that if he can earn a name for himself by scoring big runs in this series, I think that he will certainly move up the ICC rankings and he will be have the respect that he deserves.
Definitely like the other two, my money's on Shai Hope. He's like the young gun really for the West Indies.
He's performed well in England before, so I'd say he's probably the one. Who do you guys think who's going to take the most wickets in the series for West Indies?
So probably for the West Indies, Keeman Roach has a good chance to take the wickets, and probably Alzari Joseph.
Roston Chase is probably the best spinner.
I was going to say Roston Chase is sort of the wild card, really, if there's a few spinning wickets that come up.
I think obviously Keeman Roach is definitely going to take the wickets for the West Indies, but also Jason Holder.
Yeah.
If the West Indies want to have a good chance, he has to stay in that well and take at least a couple of wickets.
In the Caribbean, when England last played West Indies, he was outstanding for the West Indies. I think took loads of wickets, and he also scored loads of runs with the bat. He scored that 202.
Sam Curran isn't playing the first test, and do you think he's going to play in the next 2-3 tests?
I think that if he's going to be sick, they have to have in mind that there is a slight chance that he might have COVID. So playing him in the second or third test, I think that he should self-isolate for at least 14 days.
I think he's being tested again today. I just saw on ESPN, and hopefully he's tested negative. But if he is tested positive, they should immediately find a replacement for him.
I think it all depends on how the first test goes for England, because if they win, I think it could be unlikely that we'll see Sam Curran because they might just say, look, we're winning now, we'll keep with the same dynamic.
England, I think, has a dream bowling lineup like James Anderson, brilliant swing, Stuart Broad. Both their opening spells could be really threatening for the Windies, and Jofra Archer. He might just shake up batsmen with his bouncers.
You say about James Anderson and Stuart Broad, the fact that there's no saliva on the balls might affect their bowling because they swing it a lot and they need to shine the ball.
Wet is just as thick, and it's basically just like a substitution. Might not have the same effects as saliva, but I think it's still a good substitution for the time being. For the first test, Ben Stokes is going to be captain because Joe Root is going to be having a baby. So what do you guys think of this?
Nobody really knows about Ben Stokes' captaincy, as I said in my last video, but he is going to prove a point, as he is one of England's heroes with the World Cup and the Headingley Test match. So definitely he is going to boost some confidence to almost every player.
I understand where they come from in making Ben Stokes captain, because he is sort of a natural leader.
He's already done vice captaincy for a bit, so he does have that experience of that. So I think he'll be all right, but the continuity of Joe Root not being captain might affect England.
Ben Stokes is the vice captain, so I think it's only right to put him as captain. But I think if it was long term, I don't think Ben Stokes would be the right man for the job.
I agree with Will in terms of that Stokes isn't probably the best long-term choice because you also have to consider burnout because he bowls, he bats in the top six. The mental and physical workload, I think it might have an issue as well.
That's why I think that Jason Holder is an exceptional captain to bowl, bat, and field.
I have the England squad here. Shall I read it out and we can
Yeah.
discuss? So the England squad for the first test is Burns, Sibley, Crawley, Denley, Pope, Stokes, Butler, Best, Archer, Broad, Anderson, Wood, and Wokes. So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not gonna try to lie or anything. I still think that they have a really young squad. So I think even without Joe Root or having Ben Stokes as a captain, just these slight minor changes, I think will play a big impact on this series.
England are going through a bit of a transition period at the moment.
Yeah.
I think it's time to start bringing the young players through, as likes of Moeen Ali and Johnny Bairstow are starting to get a bit older, so they need to start thinking for the future.
I'm quite interested in the opening partnership and see how that turns out because obviously Jennings didn't really work out as an opener, and then Cook retired recently, of course, last year. But there hasn't been many games for them to transition now, so I'm quite interested to see how these two. I think it's Sibley and Burns now, isn't it?
It'd be really interesting to see Dom Sibley. I mean, he plays for my county, Warwickshire, and he is a great batsman. I think he's the highest scorer in the county championship last year. He's the only person over
I think last year I was very surprised that they kept going with Jennings when they could have gone with someone like Sibley and Burns at the top. Especially when Cook was having that bad run of form, they should have tried out Sibley and stuff.
Yeah, I still think that this is like India after 2011.
Yeah.
They kept Sehwag and they didn't transition to other openers. So this is what's going to happen. Like, I reckon if they would have introduced Sibley to Test match a bit earlier, I think it would have been more beneficial than introducing him now.
I think they've got to give him a chance as well.
Yeah.
I think if he doesn't have a great first two tests, I think they've still got to stick with him because the opening spot in the England team has been messed around with so much.
Yeah.
They need to try and find two opening batsmen and then stick with them. I mean, they've had so many openers since Alice because they've had Stoneman, Jennings, Burns, Sibley.
Yeah, and I think the problem is they haven't really stuck with anyone, have they? It's
Exactly.
been 3 or 4 tests and then they've moved on to the next person. It's almost a rotation policy. So I think that's something they probably need to stick with someone.
No, you know what this is like? It's how every time when you, in youthful cricket, you had to rotate the fielding positions. It's basically like that. Everyone gets a turn at this, everyone gets a turn at that.
Yeah, and it feels a lot like India's number 4 problem, doesn't it? With the rotation policy.
Shreyas Iyer's pretty good right now.
I think India probably settled their number 4 now, but last year for the World Cup, it felt a lot like that.
So, what do you guys think? Who's going to be the highest scorer and who's going to take the most wickets for England and why?
I think Rory Burns could be the highest scorer for England. Just because, it would be Joe Root, but he's going to obviously miss the first test. And looking at the lineup, I can't see that much experience in the batting order.
I reckon one of the young guns like Crawley or Sibley could just out series, but then you also have to go with experience. So that for that reason, I'd probably say Burns, just because he's top of the order. If Ben Stokes was a bit higher, I might say Stokes, but because he's lower down.
What about Ollie Pope?
Yeah,
Ollie
I think
Pope might also
obviously, Crawley, Sibley, and Pope, they're probably the sort of young guns who could have a breakout series.
Could also be Denley, because he's also got some experience.
I think that they're not too experienced, but they're very good players. So if England can properly condition them, they'll be really good players in the future.
So who do you think is going to take the most wickets for England and why?
I would say probably it's between James Anderson or Stuart Broad or Jofra Archer. 3 of them are going to really have to they are like most likely going to like threaten the West Indies with like Stuart Broad and James Anderson is probably the best opening spell in like every team of Test cricket, and also Jofra Archer's bouncers. Like I remember the Smith one, like the Smith versus Jofra Archer like last year.
I think that Stuart Broad just has the knack of taking wickets. Jofra
Yeah.
Archer's a really aggressive bowler, and I think England need that one aggressive bowler. James Anderson, I think he's getting really old, and his position in the team is in doubt, but I think he'll stay for this series.
But I think personally, I think they would actually Anderson's higher in the pecking order compared to Broad. I think the England team management does value Anderson over Broad.
Yeah.
In terms of top wicket taker, I'd probably go with Archer just because the form that he's had last year.
I think Archer will be the top wicket taker just because, as I've said before, James Anderson and Stuart Broad might not be as good with the older balls. Looking at the spinners, you've also got Don Bess in the team. I personally think Moeen Ali should have been picked above him. I'm not sure. Just because Moeen Ali's batting, you also have that with Moeen Ali, whereas Don Bess, you don't.
Yeah, and I think I think the problem the team management has with him is he's just taken a break, and he's obviously he wasn't in the best of form before then, even with the bat as well. So that's I think he's going through a tough time now. It'll be interesting to see if he can bounce back.
We have said who our top run scorers are for each team, so now we will decide who we think is going to be the overall top scorer and top wicket taker.
Personally, I think the top run scorer in the series will be between Shai Hope and Rory Burns. I think they're both quality batsmen, and they've been performing. They've been consistent in recent times, so I think it's going to be between them two. For the wicket taker, I can't really think past Jofra Archer, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I think his pace is just going to batter the West Indies. Also, it's a bit of a outsider, but I think Jason Holder could easily take loads of wickets. Last year in the Caribbean, he absolutely battered England.
I think there's quite a few who could be the top run scorer, but for me personally, I think Burns I think that's the easiest choice. There's a few unpredictable ones, but I think that's the most likely choice. And for the top wicket taker, I'd probably go with Kemar Roach. I think he's just been consistent, but as Will said, Holder and Archer as well, they're probably two that can also run away with it.
To me personally, I would say Rory Burns is going to really bat well in this series and is going to prove himself. And then after that, for the wickets, I would say Stuart Broad maybe, or Jofra Archer.
So I'm pretty sure same with Will. I think that Shai Hope and Rory Burns equally have a chance of getting top run scorer. Truly because they're really underrated batsmen that have proved themselves but haven't got much attention. So they're really just class batsmen that have so much potential, and I hope they can show in this test. And for bowler, I'm mixing my mind with Jofra Archer and Kemar Roach. Kemar Roach just has a knack of taking wickets, and Jofra Archer is just that one young gun that's just going to take wickets like anything. Finally, what are your predictions for the series overall, and who's going to win, or is it going to be a draw?
I would say that England's going to win 2-1. That's the most, I'm not pretty sure about both of the teams, as it is going to be a pretty interesting series to watch, as they don't have their best batsman, England, Joe Root. So I would say England will win 2-1.
Yeah, I'd probably have to go with that as well. England 2-1, but I reckon West Indies do have a chance, but I think it's about 60-40 chance that England are probably going to win. I reckon 2-1, I'd say.
I think that it's going to be either way 2-1. I think that it's considering the teams, it's always going to be a close match.
Can you pick one so we can have a tally who we think we're going to win?
So I both think that it's going to be 2-1 either way, but if I'm putting my bets on England. Putting my bets on England.
See, I personally think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I mean, in England, there's always a chance of rain, so you have to take that into consideration. Also, no teams coming into this with any sort of form. None of them have played in over 3 months, so it could go either way.
I guess it was an overall decision, majority decision, that England are predicted favourites to win this series. Obviously, Will thinks it's going to be a draw, which I think is likely as well with the weather currently. So we'll just have to wait and watch, and hopefully it's a good series. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. Let us know your thoughts on the series in the comments below. Here are some other videos from us to check out. Please make sure to like and subscribe. It would really help our channel, and I will see you next time.